Hey, you guys don't want to see another boring video about replacing a stock servo on an SCX24, do you? All right, that's what I thought. Okay. All right, well, I guess I better get to it then. To the bench. All right, here we are at the bench. So we're going to swap out the original AX1 servo for an E-MAXX. And like I said before, everybody's done it. Everybody knows how to do it. But why? Why have we done it? So I'm going to tell you why I think it's a good idea to upgrade your stock servo, even to the E-MAXX. Even though there are even more high performance servos out there, I think this is at least a good starting point to move on to over the original stock servo. And first, I want to kind of get into the specs, and then we'll test those theories, we'll weigh them out, we'll check them out on the course, and see if it actually is an improvement or not. So first, let's get into the specs. Now, I'm going to have to read this because the old noggin ain't too good at remembering stuff, so bear with me. So both the Axial and the E-MAXX servos have an operating voltage of 4.8 to 6.0. The torque is exactly the same too, although they list them differently. The E-MAXX has a stall torque of 6.1 kilograms per square centimeter, which is 21 ounces, whereas the Axial has a max torque of 1.6 kilograms of force per square centimeter, and they're saying that that's 34.9 ounces, which is kind of a difference here, and 2.0 kilograms of force per square centimeter, which is 28 ounces at 6 volts. And then the Axial says that it's 41 ounces, 41.8 to be exact, at 6 volts. So I'm not sure where the number differences are. I tried to find some other specs, but they all kind of said the same thing. So the numbers aren't jiving here. According to this, the stock servo should have more torque, but it's listed as maximum torque, whereas the E-MAXX lists it as stall torque. So I'm not exactly sure. Maybe I'll do a little research on that and find out what the difference between maximum and stall is. So, well, let me just look that up real quick. Okay, so here's the difference. Stall torque is a maximum torque a motor can produce when it's not rotating, while max torque is the highest amount of torque a motor can generate for a short period of time. So max torque when it's not rotating, max torque is the highest amount for a short period. Okay. Interesting. So take that for what it's worth, but that's what the research says. Then moving on to speed. And according to this, the speeds are exactly the same. 0.12 seconds at 60 degrees at 4.8 volts for both the E-MAXX and the stock servo. So that's a wash. The dimensions, well, they're exactly the same also at 23 by 11.5 by 24 millimeters. Not gaining or losing anything there. The weight, according to this, the weights are exactly the same at 10 grams. So not gaining or losing anything there. The plug type on the E-MAXX is a JR type plug. Pretty much the same thing. It's interchangeable with the stock servo, and we all kind of knew that. So that's a wash. No advantage, disadvantage. But this is where the real advantage comes in. The original servo is a plastic gear servo. And as we all know, plastic isn't quite as good as metal. So in time, it would be a problem, or could be a problem at least. The E-MAXX servo, you get internal metal gears. And that's the important part here, is when you start adding weight, you want something that's more durable. That's where the E-MAXX will come in. Because at that point, you know that the gears aren't going to give up on you, and it's just going to be a lot more reliable and a bigger peace of mind. So the next thing we want to get into is actually checking out and seeing if there is a weight difference on the scale and the power and everything else. So we'll move on. Okay, so now I got the original parts out of the vehicle and I've set these up so we can compare them side by side. Already, I can see a size difference between the original servo and the E-MAXX. Considerably different just visually. I don't have anything to measure right here with me, but that is already telling me that their numbers are off. Don't always buy the numbers. Next, you're going to see the Endura servo versus the stock servo. It's one, this is plastic, this is aluminum. So one, it's going to be much stronger. And two, it's much more substantial. So it's way meatier. It's going to hold the torque that this one's going to put out, make it a more positive steering. Now, visually, you probably can't see much except for maybe some brass highlights on the diff covers, but these are plastic and these are brass. Already, you know that that's going to be a huge weight advantage. So let's actually get the scale and test this and see how much we're going to gain from this, because I bet it's going to be a lot. So let's go ahead and weigh the stock servo. And that's 5.1 grams. With the stock mount, we're at 6.3 grams. With one axle, we're at 7.7 grams, 7.54, so let's call it 7.5 grams. Add the last one, we're at 8.8 grams. So yeah, I mean, this doesn't even equal what the E-MAXX is, or is stated as. So let's go ahead and move these off to the side and we'll check the new parts. And remember, the stock servo was 5 grams. The E-MAXX servo is 12.9 grams. Yep, 12.9 grams. Let's go ahead and add the steering servo mount. We're at 17 grams on that. So just that alone, moving that up front, we're 10 grams over where we were with the original. Huge advantage. Next, with one brass diff cover, we're at 23.5 grams. That's just what is going to be over the front wheels, the front axle. The amount of weight gain we've got on this is unreal. It's like night and day. Then we go ahead and add the last one. We're at 30 grams. 30 grams over the original parts is going to make a huge advantage on this crawler on the course. And I'll get these put on. You've already seen this thing work before I did all these upgrades. So we're going to see what kind of advantage we get making the improvements and upgrades to this. Just weight alone, this thing is going to work so much better. And I guarantee you the specs are not correct on either one of these, and that we're going to see a huge advantage in torque, speed, and probably steering angle. And there might be a way to modify the steering angle a little bit, but I'll get into that maybe in another video. But right now, this is such a massive difference. I'm looking forward to getting these parts in. So let's go. So we got her all back together. We've got the E-MAXX servo in there, brass diff covers front and rear. We added 21 grams to this. That's massive. That's a huge amount, and you can just feel it. It's way more substantial in the hand. I mean, and you can really feel that the balance of it is now toward that front, which is where you want it. And of course, again, nice and down low. So these are mods that if you're gonna modify it, this is where you go. I mean, just it's huge. I can't believe it. It already feels so much more hefty, you know, and sturdy. And then when you look at the steering, I think we do have more steering angle than we had before. It's far more responsive. And what I mean by responsive is when you turn the wheel, it's hitting those marks instead of a lag between the controller and the car itself. It's just such a huge improvement over what we had. So just gotta look into this. I'm shocked. So let's get it out on the course. I'll try the indoor course, and then I'm even going to try outside because it's actually pretty nice today. So let's get moving on that. All right, so we're going to see how this is going to work on the indoor course. Well, I got myself into trouble. Let's see if that new steering servo can help get me out of trouble here. And it did. Look at that. Way more power than before. Tons of steering. Yeah, we're going to have to probably vent the wheels so that we get even more performance out of the wheels and tires and insert mods that we did. They're just not conforming enough. See how that servo just really has so much more power now to really help get us a certain angle or line right off of all these rocks. Coming through the tunnel on Skull Mountain. Yeah, just so much more power. I mean, you could almost work your way over obstacles just by having that much power in the steering now. I got to finish these other two sections here because with all the paint, they're just slick. There's no grip to them. So that's kind of hurting me a little bit. But yeah, I'll get them finished. I got plans for a second tier on this indoor course. So that's going to be a lot of fun when I get that done. See how I can just move the truck around with just that servo. I can adjust my lines, my angles, just by turning the wheel. That is just incredible. A lot more weight up front. You can really feel it when you're driving it too. I'm quite impressed that I can feel it that much. But that's awesome. Coming up over Skull Mountain. And we'll go into the bridge. See if maybe I have a little more control on the bridge now with that new servo. Get myself lined up right. The bridge isn't perfect. I know it's not, but I wanted a new challenge line, a new obstacle, so I thought this would be the best way to do it. See if I can just creep. The stock motor is going to limit me here. Ah! We'll attempt Skull Mountain again and the bridge. Now the bridge isn't perfect, I know, but I wanted to try something new, a new challenge. So we're gonna use this for now. It's definitely a challenge. It's just probably not the best way to have built it, but just real nice and slow. We'll see if we can get across here this time. Get that back right tire back on. I If I had a brushless motor in here, it'd be a whole lot slower, and I wouldn't have that problem. Having the strength of that servo behind it really does help. Because you get into a bind and you can use the servo's power to really dig yourself out. Or sometimes it can get you into more trouble like it just almost did there. So slowly, can I get back up there? Probably gonna struggle here. Oh! Well, it looks like it's presented a whole new set of challenges. Probably need to learn how to drive all over again and glue another skull on. So we'll figure that out, but maybe I'll take this outside and we'll see if there's any improvement out there. Well, it's a little bit windy out here, but we're going to try and get this. And I really need to clean this up a bit more. Yeah, strength of that servo is really what I needed, because even out here, it was struggling. So trying the new control, thumb control, and just not used to it yet, but yeah, I definitely have to try something else, because it's not going to work for me, I don't think. It's really struggling to get up that today. There we go. All through this thick stuff, that's servo's gonna shine. Just shows off how much power it really does have and how it's gonna help out. I think the next big thing would be a brushless motor of some sort. Something else here. The servo is really just showing what a rig is capable of with the right components. That was my problem all along. The vines were stopping it, so. Okay, so we can see from the indoor course and the outdoor course that the servo upgrades, the weight that we added to this, these were significant gains. Now, I'm not trying to tell you that the E-MAXX is the end-all be-all shit to put in, but upgrading from the stock servo is going to have massive improvements to the performance of your rig. So whether it be an Endura, an E-MAXX, digital, non-digital, the metal gear is definitely the way to go. Doesn't matter if it's a reef. So I highly recommend upgrading your servo, not necessarily right away, but one of the very first few upgrades would definitely be that servo. And it's helped point out where some of my other failures are. And those will be coming in the future. So stay tuned. Sorry it took so long to get this one out. Had a computer glitch and wiped out my outro, so I had to redo it a week later, and it took me a while for this one. So, but I've got some more planned, and we'll keep going at it. Now, I got a mess to clean up, so maybe I'll give you a tip on how to organize. I don't know if that's something you guys would want. Let me know down in the comments. If there's something else that you want to know about and I can help you with it, also let me know in the comments. So, thank you very much, and we'll see you in the next video. That made a huge improvement. I mean, how could we go wrong with that? And yeah, do that. And probably see this around Halloween, so happy Halloween, guys.